jump George Russell off the line and get alongside Max into that famous banked steep corner into turn one. Oscar Piastri also having to do some overtaking from 16th
live in
on
effect,
the
and you
grid.
can hear
But David
everything.
Croft in
Of
the
course you
commentary
can,
box.
because Cameron
What's
is
happened to
noddy
McLaren
and very
this weekend
unprofessional.
so far?
How are we doing? As David Croft is being asked. Bloody no, look at this. Huh. What's gone on with McLaren, chat? And what's gone on with Mercedes? And what's gone on with Red Bull? We've got to talk about it, as we are T-minus 27 minutes away from a cheeky sprint race. I feel like this sprint race is just it's just a precursor to qualifying later, you know. Honestly, I do like myself a little bit of cheeky qualifying. But I digress. Maximilian Verstappen on pole. Oh, the humanity. First time he's been on pole in any format since Austria. Bloody no, 47 of you. Do you think Norris can win the title? French Bonapartist? I do not think. Listen, in terms of art, not to get techie and very linguistic early on, but sometimes you've got to front load it for these things. Do I think he can win? Of course he can win. 52 points away. It's mathematically possible. Do I think he will win? That's a completely different answer, right? It's a different proposition. I'll tell you what the issue, Mubashir. I'll tell you what the issue is. There is a tax to be paid to win championships, right? To do extraordinary things, sometimes you need to make extraordinary sacrifices. You know, looking at Lando and Norris post sprint shootout yesterday or whatever it's called. I don't know if that dude's on it. I just don't. I don't know if Lando wants it that bad. Just the honest truth. EC. Cameron CC field report already. Let's go, Electronic. You in situ again today. Go on then, let's talk about Lando before we talk about his team boss, Zach Brown's comments. I just don't know if Lando wants it that much. Lando, looking at Max Verstappen, he's come to get it right, just in his demeanour and his countenance. Each and every single time, he's not looking to give this up. What, 3 soon-to-be 4-time champion? This is record-breaking settings. How many drivers have won 4 championships? Sebastian Vettel's settings, that would be equal of him. Alain Prost back in the day, 85, 86, 93 and 89. How many people can call themselves a 4-time champion, especially consecutively? Not many. Fangio, Lewis, Schumacher, there's not many. And so this matters to... I know Max Verstappen would always say to you that it doesn't matter, but he comes to get it. Look at his countenance. And then conversely, Lando Norris looks like he's just like, you know what I mean? Shoulders all hunched. He looks like he hasn't slept. Like he just... It's a very different proposition, eh? As far as Lando and Norris. And I think that has to matter. You can only say negative things about yourself and your competence and your ability to win a race or a championship. You can only say these things so many times without them affecting your performance downstream. There will indeed be downside ramifications going forward. And I think Lando Norris, as brilliant as he is, as fantastic as a racer is, as fast as he is, because we've seen evidence of that, I think these things ultimately matters when the margins are so fine. Look at Max Verstappen's lap yesterday. Bloody Nora. How is he doing that? Like, set to 1. Lewis Hamilton set to 1 too. Bloody Nora. Per Martin of lower lap time. He wasn't bad, was he? So I think it's going to get techie. It is going to get techie going forward. Of course, Lando can do it, but will he? Can he execute for his not insubstantial upside potential? Deliver upon? Build on this campaign. I mean, he's done very well, right? He's inexperienced. His 6th season, whatever. But he's got it. This is different, man. To go head to head with Max Verstappen, you need to be made of different stuff. Lewis Hamilton can tell you as much. 2021, please see as your exhibit A. Do you know what I mean? 2 sets had to be done, mate. Had to be done. Genius Genie. Norris doesn't even give me the vibe of a Rosberg. I don't disagree. Matthew Brown, you're a legend. Thank you so much. You're far too kind, sir. Honestly, don't care if Max wins this race. I just want him to finish in front of Lando. If he wins, great. But finishing in front of Lando is enough. Matthew Brown, I concur. But I think Max will want to win this. There's nothing outside of winning for Max. In an F1 car, in a race, he just wants to win. He's a very simple man. Very straightforward. Cut up and down. Do you know what I mean? A straight shooter of an F1 peddler. Max wants to win. No more, no less. Do you know what I mean? It is that simple for that chap, and I think Lando wants to be liked. I was listening to Matthew Bishop on the It's and colossally, that's history. I can never remember the name of the podcast, but it's a brilliant one. Go and check it out. And Matt Bishop said of the varying, different, prioritising conflicting demands as far as key stakeholders at the time in F1 of Jean Todt, who was the old Mohammed Ben Sulayem, head of the FIA. He said, Jean Todt wants to be obeyed. Take his instruction, therefore, and deliver upon it. Don't disobey him. Of Max Mosley. But we'll leave Max Mosley to last. Jean Todt wants to be obeyed. Ron Dennis wants to be loved. Max Mosley wants to be feared. And so if indeed you're managing, juggling all of those stakeholder bubbles, those stakeholder balls even, T-minus 22 minutes to a cheeky sprint. If you're managing all of those, then you gauge them accordingly, right? You understand who they are and you gauge for that. Therefore, as we get a cheeky look at Sting having a walk up and down the grid, Peter Windsor told a brilliant story about Sting inviting him to the grid way back in the day when he was on the grid. Williams 1992, 93 settings. And I think as far as stakeholder settings, you know, I'm only talking about this stakeholder stuff to say this. Zach Brown said this. Bloody Nora. Have you seen? Yeah, Matthew Brown, you're a legend, mate. A proper legend. Daniel Caleb, Mibashir. After the race is there quali. Yeah, after this race, there is quali. So quali will be, when I say a couple of hours, I think it's like 11 p.m. British Standard Time, which is T-minus 4 hours. So not long. It's a weird one, this. It feels a bit techie. But listen, we've got to give our brethren, our brothers, boys and girls in North America their chance, right? This is prime time for them for once. And listen, shout out to all my Floridians. I know it's been hard. Not been easy at the moment. Going through hurricanes as near as makes their difference. Every bloody couple of minutes, do you know what I mean? I don't doubt it, says Matthew Brown, but Max needs to finish. Just take what you get exactly. Tom Clarkson's point, Matthew Brown, isn't it? Take what you get. If you try overreach, then you will overdo it. Bring it home for points, Matthew Brown. There speaks a grizzled F1 veteran that knows about what he's talking. And I concur with you, mate. Max, this is damage limitation for Max Verstappen. As far as the championship, all he needs to do... Listen, he shouldn't fight a Lewis or a George, but he will do. Why? Because he's Max Verstappen, Matthew Brown, and I'm a big fan. I'm jumping on the Max Verstappen bandwagon. As I said yesterday, Mert looked glued to the track. You did say it, didn't you, EC? Sometimes this is the value from being at the track. T-minus 20 minutes until we get ourselves a cheeky sprint. As Anthony Davison talks about the various different cars and the Rubik's Cube that is optimizing for this sprint race, that their dynamic poses to them. Go on, let's go through that very quickly. In fact, let me talk about Zach Brown. Did you guys see the press conference? Bloody Nora. Where do we start with that? Of course, front and centre, first topic on the docket was Bib Tray Gate, Tea Tree Oil, Cameron. It is Tea Tray. What we're talking about? Not Tea Tray. Right, so this ability that Red Bull have, if they reach underneath the pedal box to move, to adjust the ride height. And again, some people are saying that they were able to do this in Parc Fermé. T-minus 19 minutes till we get ourselves a full-blown sprint race. Of that, Zach Brown said, you know what? If they were doing it, then it's illegal. And we would expect them to be met with the full force of the law. Therefore, this is what Zach Brown said. Again, he's never pulled any punches as far as going at the Red Bull racing team, right? The house that Christian Horner built. I like it. I think this sport needs protagonists and antagonism, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? And nobody else is prepared to go head to head with Christian Horner. So somebody has to mention no name Zach Brown. Let's go. And I don't hate Zach for that, but then the question comes. Remember, Helmut Marko talked about Lando Norris as far as his mental fortitude. We've got to be really careful with this. 180 of you watching Kokote, do me a favour, smash a like, as we are T-minus 19 minutes away from a cheeky sprint race at Kota. Zach Brown said this, however, of Helmut Marko's comments, that Lando Norris lacks the mental fortitude or mental strength to use the words accurately. Zach Brown said that Red Bull like to do that, don't they, sometimes? That they like to leverage, be a bit funny about things that are otherwise serious. That in saying that about mental health, Zach Brown says that Helmut Marko has taken us back 30 years. He thinks that his charge, Lando Norris, has been very open and honest in his battles around pressure, not being able to eat, the rituals before the race, etc., etc., managing for the pressure in real time. And that takes guts, absolutely. But I think Zach Brown's made a critical faux pas here. He's tried to be advanced and diversity and inclusion, but he's missed the definition. And these definitions, terms of art, are important here. Semantics, when we're talking about mental health as versus mental fortitude, is really, really important. Let me delineate as I see it, because the definitions matter, with a view to avoid Grice's razor. Brilliant philosophical thought experiment or process even. Here's what Grice's razor, how I apply it to this. Mental fortitude is something very different from mental health. If you're suffering from depression, let's say, and or anxiety, let's say, without getting too techie, that's a very different entity from being able to cope in pressure, eh? Those two things are separate things, Zach Brown, and the two should not mix. I think Zach Brown, I know he meant well and it was well intended, but I think he's dropped the ball there, and I think he's done Lando Norris a disservice. Lando doesn't suffer, apparently, as far as I know, from mental health issues. The pressure gets to him, however. It's very different, depression, anxiety, et al., from the pressure getting to you and your ability to stand up. Mental fortitude is something very different, in my humble opinion. But I digress. We are T-minus 17 minutes away from a sprint. Softs. Surely nobody's running soft. How many laps? I mean, mediums potentially, I think, will be the way forward. 178. If you're watching Kokoni, do me a favour and smahoosh the like. Oh, the humanity. Nando says, if Lando would let his nuts hang like Zach, we would have a different championship. It's hard, Nando. It's hard. I think this is case in point, you know. I'm convinced that there's not a driver on the grid not named Lewis Hamilton that can stand up to the fire and brimstone that Max Verstappen brings with him over the course of a 24 race season. I'm convinced of it. I mean, look at Oscar. I said that Oscar was the next Ayrton Senna, and he might be going forward. He might be the next Ayrton. Who knows? But then look at the mistake that he makes yesterday. It shows you that he's still got a lot to learn, eh? Still in his development, his formative phase. Getting techie. Richard Casey. Genie, I keep missing you. Genie says, let's hope so. Electronic cornbread. What are we talking about? Listen, I think Lando's still in there, man, but he's not going to win this. Promise you. Mark my words. Look, excuse me, eating. We've got timelines to delivery. Do you know what I mean? In short, he can't handle it as well as the greats. I think handle isn't even a word. That's not the verb that I'd use necessarily. Performance and the ability to perform under pressure, right? That's something very different from mental health, Zach Brown, I would contend. But you know what? That's just my opinion. As somebody who has, I'm sure that if depression is a very technical thing, well, I'm sure that at some time in my life I've been depressed and suffered from anxiety, but have I ever been diagnosed? Do you know what I mean? I think that's something very different. The ability to handle pressure. Maybe you could argue that anxiety and depression come as a function of your ability to handle pressure or lack thereof. It's two different extension. Maybe one's a symptom of the other. K-Mag, starting on 8th. Piastri may have the fortitude, yet to be seen whether he has the talent. I would disagree, Michael. It's in the talent. What it is for Oscar Piastri is the talent and consistency over a material length of time, right? That's what it is for. That's the question for Oscar. Look at him the other day, bloody holding off Charles Leclerc at Baku, for Pete's sake. Now, mini DRS, you've got to factor into that somehow. But, I mean, Oscar's he's not a bad peddler for one so young. Sophomore season, do you know what I mean? 175, if you're watching Cody, do me a favour and smash a like if you could. How much do you like the mental fortitude, or rather lack thereof, from Lando Norris? WDC's is Max as Andash. Andash had an argument with Shez earlier on in a week, a podcast that's yet to be published, and we both said the same. Lando absolutely can win the championship, but whether he will It's days like yesterday that tell you all you need to know as far as that, eh? T-minus 13 minutes till we get ourselves a cheeky sprint. And for the avoidance of doubt, when that kicks off, we will get the metrics up on the left and the right. We will be able to see the track radar. I will be commentating. We will get ourselves some cheeky metrics, courtesy of our mates over at Multiview, the best metric provider in the Wonder F's. Put some respect on their name. I think Zach was deflecting. Yes, Genie. Oh, and he got it out of context. I completely agree, Genie. He's missed the mark. He tried. He's got to clap back at Red Bull. He can't just lie down like Toto, the boy who cried wolf, has been doing for his news makes no difference 3-4 years. But I mean, it was a bit off. It was a bit off piste. I can hear my friends who had suffered from proper depression and anxiety looking at that like, what are you talking, Zach? You've missed it, chap. You've missed it. They're two separate entities. The ability to handle pressure. Wakasan, you're a legend. Thank you so much. Who does Mama Cameron think will win the championship? Max or Lando? Or maybe somebody else? Wakasan, if you know Mama Cameron, Lewis Hamilton's always going to win the championship. What do you mean? Even though, and the race, and the sprint, and qualifying, put it on port. Although, Wakasan, and thank you so much, mate. You're far too kind, but no, I like the way you cite Mama Cameron, but Mama Cameron thinks Lewis Hamilton is always going to win. What do you mean? Like many cult RHs and Lewis Hamilton fans around the world, if I pick up the phone and ask Mama Cameron, one day I'll get Mama Cameron on my stream and I'll be like, Mum, who's going to win? She'll be like, Lewis Hamilton. Don't ask me any stupid questions. But Mum, Lewis is starting from 20th. I don't care. Lewis is winning. We ingest our Formula One very different. We support the same driver, but we've got a very different perspective. Lando should have won it already. What did you say, mate? How's the poll looking? I'll get it up there, Mubashir. I don't know. It depends. So, I mean, I was talking to Martin about this of lower lap time. If you switch around the drivers, it's hard to say. I don't know. What would the points differential be if Max had Lando's car all this time? I don't know. I don't know, Mubashir. Right, I'll get the poll going, Mubashir, I promise. EC says, thank you, EC, you're a legend, too kind. Albon needs to bite, not bark today because Colapinto will want to make amends yesterday. What say you, mate? Well, Colapinto's already starting ahead of Alex Albon, isn't he? This is the issue. He's got to play defense. All Franco Colapinto needs to do to impress is beat Alex Albon, whether it's by 1, 2, 3, 4 play, it doesn't matter. Beat your teammate. That's all. Oh, Matt's conversation. This upgrade looks as though it's working. Max Verstappen. Looks like it's working. I tell you what the issue is, and we talked about it on Issa, you're too kind, by the way, and I think you're onto something there. Alex Albon needs to bite back. But again, how much emphasis do you put on the sprint as versus... It's all about... For me, still, I know I'm being the old fogey at the bar talking about back in my day, but the sprint is a diversion. Quali and the race is where you get the lion's share of the points. Okay, so for the win... You can smash out 8 points, right? But if you pole it in quali a little bit later on and then win the race, that's 25. So you want to put all your eggs in that basket, don't you? Kind of. I get what you're saying though, EC. I completely concur, mate. I completely concur. Yeah, Wakasan's a proper legend. And Joma, you two are a proper legend. All the mods and deleted peddlers who contribute to the channel. I am infinitely grateful, genuinely, because you guys... are all legends, do you know what I mean? Just seeing a cheeky picture of Naomi Schiff fritter around in the background, getting an interview on. How are you feeling, Lando? I feel good. Trying his best to be positive. Fair play to you, but I don't believe you, Lando. 19 laps in the sprint. Is that enough to get to the front, starting 4th? Mate, behave yourself. Set realistic targets, Lando. Do you know what I mean? But no, okay, so I'm now contradicting and I am now being, there was once a man called Hippocrates. Good luck, Lando. Go positive, man. Go well. I hope you, the championship needs him because otherwise Max is going to walk away with it and everybody will dial out at race in the next 3 of 6. You want competition, sprint or race, you never back down, never, EC, unless it's not your race, right? If you're getting lapped by Max Verstappen, then get lapped. Surely you've got to focus on your race. If you're racing for 10th or 9th or 11th, let's say, and Max Verstappen's in first, don't lose time racing for like trying to hold back Max for like, do you know what I mean? Masochism points or whatever. Nah. That's not the way for you. Got to race smart. But I see you. I know you know that, easy. Genius. If Lando doesn't want to win, Lando will never win. Oh. Oh. Right, we need to talk about Mercedes. Let me get this cheeky poll up. Mubasher. Sprint winner. It's always funny when I put out these polls. It's always very funny to put out these polls and then see how reality matches to the results of the poll. Go on, we've got to put Lewis in there, eh? Or have we got to put Lewis? Go on then, you guys tell me who's got the sprint. It's techie. Right, let's talk about Mercedes very quickly, because looking back on the stats, the numbers post the sprint shootout, I didn't even realise what had happened. Look, it's techie. I heard Lewis Hamilton has made an industry out of having a cheeky moan. I think he's been hard done by because Mercedes haven't given him the car requisite to go and win races, commensurate with his not insubstantial talent, of course. However, I keep hearing Lewis say, well, between free practice and qualifying the paid session, something happens to my car. It feels like somebody's turning down the engine, or tyre temps or tyre pressure, something's going on. And I mean, how many times do you have to reiterate that, especially as far as the tyre temps? You can go and that's auditable. Lewis, if he wants to, per Ted Kravitz, can go and check with his team after and see exactly what his tyre temps were before he got released from the pit. So I don't want to hear that too much. And I think it allows Mama Cameron cult LHers to buy into this conspiracy theories, theses. And I don't want that. So when I heard Lewis yesterday talking about 4/10, I was like, really, Lewis? Boy who cried wolf, setting 4/10. But go and check the maths, and he was actually 4/10 in front of George Russell in Sector 1 alone. What the fudge? Sector 1 Lewis was rapid, but Sector 1 for me, as I look at it, looks a lot like Meggett's and Beckett's fast, flowy, medium, high-speed turns, right? So your Lewis's and your Max are always going to excel. Charles Leclerc and bloody George Russell can't live with Lewis and Max around these turns. Not in Sector 1. Probably not the track entire, to be fair. Both Max and Lewis are demons around here. I say all that to say this. Lewis had a valid complaint. He had what Lando had a couple of races back, right? Baku, where sadly a Colapinto yellow flag completely screwed him over. He felt like he was on course for pole. Who am I to argue? 4/10 in Sector 1. If he continued at that lick, okay, so his Sector 3 wasn't fantastic, but at that stage the lap has gone by the wayside, right? So take from that what you will, and so too per my mate Martin. It's important to realise how they've set up that car. Anthony Davidson just did the ghost analysis, putting Max Verstappen's lap and George Russell's lap side by side. They've set that car up, Max Verstappen, for the race. There is additional downforce in there, hence why his maximum speeds, maximum velocities through the speed trap were left wanting as versus George and Lewis, which also, to tally back to Lewis's Sector 1, makes that Sector 1 all the more amazing. If he has less downforce in that car than Max Verstappen, yet he was able to best Max Verstappen through Sector 1 to the tune of 0.15, mate, then that was a proper God tier 1 from Lewis Hamilton, eh? Less downforce, but quicker through high-speed sections that so characterise Sector 1, mate. You'll excuse me, mate. These could have been front 2 rows without the mistake. I don't disagree. I think he would have put it on pole. But for a mistake, he just needed it 2/10. It's hard. There are truisms in F1, right? But if Lewis is 2/10 up on you in Sector 1, it's really hard for him to... When he's had his Weetabix, it's really hard for him to lose that. Maximum points for Max, says Genius Genie, potentially. He doesn't miss out, does Max? I'm a fan. Oh, Cameron, you always thought... I saw so many comments in the lead up to this race saying, oh, that I guess that must mean that Max was always a cheat, that he was a benefactor of the cheating mechanisms that Red Bull were using yet again. Every Max Verstappen championship has itself an asterisk. Max Verstappen has never won a proper... Just like, really? Like, Verdi, Nora. I can't at this stage. If that's the way that we're wired, if that's how we're going, Kayla, you're a legend. If that's what we're looking to put forth, if that's the hill on which we're looking to die, then can't go for it. I can't argue with you, do you know what I mean? I don't know. You shouldn't argue with delinquents, because from a distance it's hard to see who is who. Shout out JC EC. If Merc brought upgrades their cooling system, then my confidence increases for George to win the split. They've bought upgrades all over the shop. We'll go for upgrades at some point, probably before the race tomorrow. But everybody's bought upgrades. Sprint Saturday in Texas. Let us go. Genie, you are far too kind. I'm here for this. We are T-minus 3 minutes away from a cheeky sprint race, and I'm here for it. Let us go. Max Verstappen dropped it on pole from George Russell. Again, wafer thin margins between the two of them, eh? That Mercedes all of a sudden fast as fudge. Fast in a straight line. I tell you what though, if we're comparing and contrasting, when you look at the if you look at the Ghost, George and Max's lap, mate, George is running a lot less downforce than Max. 239 kilometers through the speed trap as versus 235, I want to say, from Max. He's running a lot less, and you can see in the head-to-head, right, when Anthony Davidson just went through the Ghost, put both cars like side by side, adjacent. George Russell's doing one of these, so we should. But then the conversely, right, in the first instance, George is struggling on the combined exit of these turns to get the throttle down, because he has less downforce and therefore less traction. So that's techie for George. But soon thereafter, as soon as they get in a straight line, it's like Faster Than the Furious. The S2000 is what George is driving. It's bonkers, just gaps the Red Bull. So that says to me two things. That Max Verstappen's lap yesterday was a God tier 1. So too Lewis Hamilton's Sector 1. God tier, both of them. Secondly, that Red Bull is set up for the race. They're optimizing for Tyre Deg et al. He will be very hard to beat, especially. I wouldn't anticipate if Max puts it on pole, mate, it's done for the rest of them. I'll tell you that's chaos. Lewis Hamilton starts 7th. Fudge. Colapinto, man. The racing gods weren't smiling on Lewis yesterday. No sabotage, but Alex Jakes and the Hinch back after him of let's go. I don't hate that. I wish I were tuned into them. James Hinchcliffe is indeed one of the good ones. It's going to get techie. Twitter is irritating a lot. Gina, I don't even go on there these days. I can't even bothered. Keep on getting recommendations from Elon, and I don't want recommendations from Elon. Do you know what I mean? Right. T-minus 60 minutes away from a session. Let's go. A formation lap. Oh, wow. Suspension change. Arbon's starting at the back. Didn't notice. Right, let's get some metrics, because I know you guys will want them. T-minus a couple of seconds away from a cheeky formation. Brundle trying to boost up the championship rivalry. 182 if you watch, could currently do me a favour and smash the like if you could, please. Every little bit helps. Looking to build ourselves the best, the most purple sector F1 community in the world. You know what I mean? All right, let's go. Let's go. Let us go. Mediums, the lot of them, mate, as you would expect. You wouldn't want to pit here. And I think if you go softs, Tyre Deg would be a bit much. Is there a chance for Charles Leclerc to pick himself up the first ever sprint race? I mean, he should have won one at Austria a couple of years back, but Carlos Sainz was nibbling into him, wasn't he? Surprisingly, that's surprising as a stat that Charles Leclerc's yet to win himself a sprint race. Right, let's go. Let's go. Formation lap settings, and I'm here for it. I'm a bit behind you guys on the audio and the visuals, but you know what? I digress. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We move. And let's go. Brundle says that Red Bull has turned the corner. Just Mercedes remarkably fast. Standard. Max Verstappen apparently doing what you'd expect. Oh, front right wheel clicking when he brakes. Says to Lewis, Right, bear with me. I'm just getting up some metrics, I promise. Let's go. Let us go. Come on. Oh, let's get ready. I mean, how do you like your F1? Do you know what I mean? How do you like your F1? Shit. Bear with me, bear with me. I know we're going soon. They're lining up. Okay, let's go. How do you like your Formula One, ladies and gents? I am nervous. I'm nervous. Right, there's your cheeky metrics. Oh dear. We are a couple seconds away from a race start and I'm bricking it. My God. Right, we can adjust. Don't miss the start, Cameron. We can adjust to that in real time, but I'm bloody nervous. How do you like your F1 chat? Oh my God. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red. Oh, Max has nailed that start. Look at that. Oh, Max. Although Charles nailing it. Max straight to the inside defense. Oh my gosh. Max Verstappen is inevitable, for God's sake. How's he done that? Everybody else concertinaed up behind him. Lando. Go on then, Lando. Lando and George Russell strap. Let's go, Lando Norris. What do you mean? Come on, Lando. Put some respect on his name. Do you know what I mean? Got George Russell wasn't the fastest though, eh? Bloody Nora. Let's go, Lando Norris. Come after man, come after hour. What were you saying before? Hey, Cameron. You know what I mean? Lando doesn't have it, doesn't have the mental fortitude. How do you like them, Lando Norris apples? Let's go, Lando. All right. Apparently they're fast now, these McLarens, or Lando Norris is at least. Go on then. Runners and riders off the top. Verstappen holds out. 0.8 seconds behind him is Lando Norris. George Russell. Then you got the 2 Ferrari boys who had a bit of a nightmare off the start, to be fair. Charles Leclerc got concertinaed up. Oh, Charles Leclerc down the inside of George Russell. I don't hate that. George Russell's not having that though at all. Look at that. George Russell gets him back. Oh, but George Russell goes wide. Oh no, Charles will have him there. I know, but look at the track. It curves back round. George benefited from the track circumstance, eh? But Charles Leclerc teeing up the switchback. Charles Leclerc switchback on George Russell, maybe. Oh, it has released Verstappen and Norris. Right, this is exactly what they didn't want. Squabbling. Brundle makes sense. Lando and Max down the road already. Bloody Nora. Hey, how do you like? How do you like your... I know I'm far behind, Macon. I'm sorry. I'm far behind as always. Oh. Go on then. 18 laps remaining. Holy smoke. Let's hope we don't get a procession of a sprint race here running. Hopefully. Do you know what I mean? Nobody wants that. Oh. Go on, everybody's dipping off. Go on, then let's have a look at the deltas. 0.9. Oh, Lando, hold on to it, chap. 2 laps and then you get DRS, mate. You need to stay within that 1 second. 0.8 is the delta between Verstappen and Norris. Lando needs to hold on to this. Push Max Verstappen, therefore. 253 if you're watching concurrently. Do me a favour and smash the like. McLaren is still a quick car, making it's weird the way it varies between session, eh? Really, really strange. Bloody Nora. Go on then. Oh, Lando looks ominous. 0.625 is the difference. DRS settings now, eh? I didn't realise that DRS was active on lap 2. I thought it was 2 laps. Maybe that's just the rate. Squabbling Ferraris as per usual. Taking enough bites out of each other again to allow George Russell. Oh, let's go! Let's go, Carlos Sainz. Oh, Carlos Sainz oversteer on the exit, chap. You went too deep. It's almost like Charles Leclerc did him like Lewis Hamilton used to do Massa. Got after you, Claude, knowing all the while that he was going to get himself a cheeky switchback on the combined exit. Do you know what I mean? 0.9 is the delta between Verstappen and Lando Norris. Your biggest winners off the grid. Oscar Piastri up 2 places. Everybody else only up 1 or 2 places or losing. Lando Norris obviously up 2 places into second. Oh, Carlos Sainz again. Carlos, what are you doing, chap? This is basics. How many times are you going to let this dude pull the switchback on you? Go on then, Lando. Let's have it. If Lando... Mate, if Lando wins this, bloody Nora. From 4th, fastest lap from George Russell. King George Russell, first of his name. 0.791 is the delta between the top 2. George Russell. Oof. Ooh. Oh, another 1 second back. Mate, I don't hate this. Let's go. It's Chuck. Charles is putting Carlos Sainz under manners. I remember back in the day when Lucy used to do this to Felipe Massa every single time. Felipe always used to get a bit too keen, a bit too eager, overcook it, get too deep into the corner, and Lucy used to just nail him as if it were nothing. Right, 0.6. Go on then. Lando's going to have to make this done before he could... Oh my gosh, Carlos. Relax yourself, chap. Play your way into the crease, Carlos. Stop being an automotive pugilism virgin, chap. Do you know what I mean? I understand the urgency because you don't want to cook your tyres too quickly, but bloody Nora, set it up, chap. Carlos out breaking himself. I know, like a noob, Michael. Play your way into it. You're better than that. Charles Leclerc over the radio. What's he doing? Oh, Charles Leclerc wants team orders. Call it off. Call it off. Let's go. Can we go racing? Is that Charles Leclerc or is that George Russell? Do you know what I mean? Which one? Who is it? You got to do it, though. Do you know what I mean? You've got to do it. Use everything in your power to get a 10th. Per Christian Horner, if you really, really want something, particularly in F1, then you will do anything to get that. The delta, 1 second as near as makes no difference between Norris and Verstappen. Having a look at the start, Max hooked that up nicely. Look at. Do you see Max Verstappen's defensive posture? Lando Norris, see this and study it and learn from it. Lando had absolutely everything go perfect from him, eh? George basically let Lando go, though. Did you see him ease up? Oh, this is tacky. 295 of you in the chat. Do me a favour, smash a like. Charlie's actually toying with Carlos. I'm disappointed in my guy, Carlos Sainz Jr. Yeah, Max Verstappen's defensive posture. Mate, you've got to out-qualify him. You're going to beat Max. Out-qualify the chap. Don't leave it in the lap of in the hands of the F1 gods. Not going to work out. If you look at the bloody helicopter in the background, decent footage. Max will have to break down to this Macon. I don't know. What's the delta? 0.9. He's still got the DRS. I'll tell you what the issue for Lando is if he... Okay, 1.1. Outside of the DRS now. 2 things Lando would have to do to win this race. He'd have to stay within DRS and he'd have to get the move done fairly soon. No longer is he within DRS. 1.2 seconds is the delta between Messrs Norris and Verstappen for the race lead. Oh, the humanity. Max slowly gapping. Standard Max settings, eh? Hybrid. What are we doing? What else do you expect? Never ever in your life, as at October of 2024, do you bet against one Maximilian Verstappen. Unless, of course, you are interested in losing money, unless you've got money to burn. You know what I mean? Not if objectivity and truth value are a thing that you hold near and dear to your heart. Carlos Sainz challenging Leclerc. It's happening, isn't it? But I mean, he's got to be more clinical than that. Still in range is Carlos Sainz, but he's got to. I think he's played all his hands too quickly. He's got to be a bit more strategic than that. Hulkenberg dropping like a stone down tonight. If you're runners and riders with 15 laps remaining, as we get a cheeky look at Checo. What is Checo doing? Oh my God, Checo. Hulkenberg fighting Fighting with Sonoda and Hulkenberg. Of course, Checo. Now, you should absolutely keep your seat in perpetuity. Do you know what I mean? You deserve it, Checo. You deserve it, mate. Go on, then. Oof, Carlos and Charles getting very close to each other. Oh, my God. Let's go, Carlos. Vámonos, Carlos Sainz. Vámonos, Carlito. Get it. But they're going to keep fighting, aren't they? I think they're too close to each other. Let's go, Carlos. You've made that a lot harder than need be, though, Carlos. Do you know what I mean? I don't respect that. Max has won Miami, I know. Lando's in trouble now. No. The Delta, 1.4 seconds now. No more DRS. And now you're going to find out who's quickest, really normalised between Norris and Verstappen. But the problem is the fact that I've told you guys already, right? Verstappen has more downforce tacked onto that car. They've set that car up even to nail it over the course of a race. So Lando was already, this is what I mean to you, right? If Lando was going to get that overtake done, he needed to do it at the start and gap Max Verstappen. This is why it's such a catastrophe that he didn't drop it on pole yesterday. Because why? Well, because Max Verstappen, let's go and get them, guys, says Carlos Sainz. Carlos looking to call off the fight now, thinking that he's got the upper hand over modern day Jean Alesi. Here's the issue. Lando needs to get that done quickly. Otherwise, look, oh my gosh, look at that George now. Oh, George. Oh, George on Lando now, maybe. Lando's car's blown it, right? It's quick, but doesn't have downforce in the car enough. Oh, sexy from George. Oh, very sexy from George. Switchback incoming on from George on Lando. Oh, well done, Lando Norris. Hung him very nicely out to dry. Not giving up the inside. Beautiful driving. Beautiful from Lando Norris. Bravo, Lando. I respect that defensive driving. He saw that one coming and played his cards accordingly. Salute. Lando's not a bad driver, for Pete's sake. But he's going to struggle now with 12 laps remaining to hold off one George Russell. Verstappen potentially damaging his rears a bit more than we are. Is what Lando's been told. Yeah, I was going to say, Crofty's right. It looks like Lando Norris is very firmly on the back foot here. Why? Because Verstappen has a car whose setup's been geared towards the race. Sainz has got no Fs given the setup. I know, I don't hate it from Carlos. Let's go. Come on, Carlos. Let's go. But George Russell has DRS, doesn't he? DRS privilege. Charles Leclerc looking to set up another move on Carlos Sainz, potentially going forward. Go on and let's have a gander. 13 laps remaining. Oh, have they Ferrari called time on their intra-team battle? Runners and riders with 13 laps remaining. Bloody Nora. Max Verstappen, 1.9 seconds down the road from second place. Lando, no wins. Russell, Sainz, Leclerc, Charles Leclerc, or Lewis Hamilton even up into 6th. Magnussen in 7th. Tsunoda, Hulkenberg down 3 places in 9th. And then you have the Mexican minister of defense. One Checo Perez, what are we doing? Oof, Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri up into where? No one cares. 12th. Bloody Nora. Underperformance qualifying central from the McLaren boys. 1.9 seconds the difference between your top 2 drivers. I need to get myself a drink. 267 of you watching concurrently, to whom I am infinitely grateful in extremis for joining me on this watch-along COTA sprint race. Oh, the humanity. Love the K-Mag bottleneck. K-Mag in the midst of a trolley train, eh? Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, he is. Look. So K-Mag in 8th. Holding off. Again, it's role reversal, right? And you're not even going to let Hulkenberg by. K-Mag. K-Mag's always trolley training it. He's qualified out of position, hasn't he? K-Mag in 7th. I think it's a great spot. K-Mag, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Perez, Colapinto, all trolley training. Brilliant stuff. Oh, I doubt it, Crofty. Max Verstappen has this, Crofty trying to create a narrative that Max Verstappen is damaging his rears. Listen, I think they're just feeding that information with a view to keep Lando no wins head in the game. keep his morale high, motivates him. Therefore, you can't. Oh, Fernando and Liam. Do you see the way Alonso leveraged the experience? Oh my gosh, Liam Lawson put. Alonso says that the AlphaTauri of Liam Lawson is such an idiot. I think that was good racing, mate, to be fair. He's all about the shop, though, but it's Liam Lawson, isn't it? Oscar Piastri. Oh, no, it's not Oscar, is it? Oof. Liam Lawson a bit erratic over here. Racing as if it's F2, eh? Mate. Oh, my gosh. Whose wing is that? Oscar Piastri's wing. Look at Oscar Piastri's wing, how flexible. Looks like he's damaged it, Oscar Piastri. Oof. 259 if you watch it. Ooh. Bloody Nora, Oscar. Go easy, mate. It's not Destruction Derby. This is F1. Mate, sprint race is chaos, eh? 1.5 seconds is the delta between your top two being Max Verstappen and Lando. No wins. George Russell there in third. Sainz, Leclerc. The gap between those 2.8. 257 if you're watching. Matt's looks strong, mate. Very strong. EC. But don't you ever put money down against Max Verstappen. You might be right once, as is a broken clock right twice a day. But I'm telling you, on average, you're going to lose money. As at October 2024. Behave yourself, ladies and gents. Lap 9 of 19. This is a bit about how do you like your sprint race? 61% of you correctly say Max Verstappen is going to win this sprint. Oof. Carlos Sainz, let's go! Go, Carlos! Carlos Sainz on King George Russell, first of his name. Let's go! Carlos, make a name for yourself, mate. Oh, George Russell, he's getting swallowed, isn't he? Track temps. Oh my God, Red Bull have pulled a blinder, tacking on more downforce to that car. But the Mercedes are struggling. Look sexy in quali, yeah? Maximal velocity settings 327 and 329 of Lewis and George respectively. But then in the race, when you haven't got downforce, what's the equal and opposite downside? Tyre wear is going to do one of these, ladies and gentlemen. That's what George Russell is struggling with in real time. Don't want to hear anything about Max is struggling. Why? Because they've tacked on additional downforce onto that car. 300 of you watching concurrently. Science is hungry for a win, Kayla, mate. Can you imagine? Whew. Kayla, I don't think he's got a win in his locker. But he'll get close to it. It'll be as at lap 19, the checkered flag. Sainz will be closer to Lando than he is now. Tell you that much. Lando needs to get his defensive posture out, as did Max Verstappen at the very start. Oh. Wow, Lando Norris. Lando Norris is approaching Max, they say. Striking distance. Oh, the humanity. All right, let's go. We have ourselves a race. Say Sky Sports broadcast metrics makers. Within 2 laps. I will take it. Oh, my front left is toast, George. No wonder why, mate. Oh my God, look at him oversteering. Oh no. George Russell sinking like a stone. What's going on with Lewis? Lewis might be managing his... But I suppose the difference with Lewis, yeah, is that he's only fighting... Oh my gosh. Lewis now 5 seconds adrift of one George Russell. George Russell had to outdrive the car, right? Drive the car quicker than it was probably capable of being driven. Go. Tyre wear settings were on 12 for George, and he's paying the penalty now. This was the gift of George Russell's lap yesterday, right? That he managed it very well. Went slower quite deliberately on sector 1 so that he could push full throttle for the remaining sector 3 and sector 3. Colapinto, go on then. What are your plot lines saying? Albon in 18th, obviously he took a penalty. Colapinto all the way up into 11th, fighting with Checo Perez for Pete's sake. Yuki Tsunoda in 9th. Where's Lawson 16th? Not great from Lawson, but he'll take it. He'll take it. Do you know what I mean? He'll take it. 292 if you watch a good code. Do me a favour, special like, oh, the humanity, says Kayla. Oscar penalty, behave. No, but I think there's been damage. 5 seconds, yeah. Something happened with Oscar Piastri. He's had contact. Wing. His front wing is rogue. Mate, messy session from Oscar. Again, even Ayrton Senna used to have them, so do you know what I mean? We can't disqualify him from being Ayrton Senna reincarnate just because of that. Oof, look at Checo. Checo on Tsunoda, eh? DRS wide open. Checo, if you don't get around Yuki Tsunoda forthwith, in short order, Houston, we have ourselves a problem as far as your ability to maintain that drive alongside Maximilian Verstappen. I would love for Yuki Tsunoda to beat Checo Perez here. Love it. Nothing more. In DRS all this long and still couldn't get it. We have Charles Leclerc putting in the fastest lap. Take that. Verstappen's got... What do you want about Verstappen's got this race very much in control? I've been telling you that for about 10 laps, Crofty. You wanted to say that Lando Norris was going to nail him in 2 laps. According to your metrics, Lando Norris should be right up on the gearbox of Max Verstappen by now, but you guys don't know apparently who Max Verstappen is. Do you know what I mean? Put some respect on that chap's name. Put some respect on his name. Oof, Carlos Sainz. Oof. Oof, Carlos. Oh, sexy move from Carlos. Oscar Piastri-esque there. You know what I mean? Danny Rick-esque. 275 if you're watching concurrently. Currently, with 8 laps remaining, your runners and riders, Max Verstappen leading one Lando Norris, having nailed the start with a drastic defensive posture to the tune of 2.1 seconds. Afterwards, in 3rd place, you have yourself one Carlos Sainz Jr., notwithstanding the fact that Charles Leclerc is coming, having just set himself a purple lap, 137.7 behind him. The modern day Jean Lazy. You have yourself one George Russell, Lewis, Mag, K-Mag, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Checo Perez. Oh, Yuki. Oh, Yuki. Checo Perez, of course, nails himself one Yuki Tsunoda. But Yuki Tsunoda... Oh. Let's go, Yuki! Oh, hold him off. Defensive posture, Yuki. Defensive posture, chap. Oh, no, he couldn't hold him. Oh, my gosh. Go on, then. Get the DRS open, chap. Nail him back. Go on, Yuki. Come on, chap. Get that DRS open, chap, and nail him up the inside. Come on, Yuki. I mean, talk about race it. Drive to survive, yeah? Come on, Yuki. Up the inside, chap. Oh. Oh, he's locked up, Yuki. There it is, mate. These are how you win and lose races, sir. And seats, therefore, Yuki. See, this is the difference, man. Got to chew your food before you swallow. You can't afford to outbreak yourself there, Yuki, for crying out loud. Perez has not learned anything, Macon. I mean, he looks fantastic around his tracks, but the litmus test for Checo was always going to be how he fared after Singapore and after Baku. Those are his tracks. Kota is not. High speed sector 1A. Maggots and Beckett settings. Checo Perez is never going to... That's not him. Checo Perez likes a rear limited track. Please see a Monaco or Baku or Singapore. Not a Kota. With a sector 1. Oh my gosh, what's going on here? That turn 1 is chaos. Oscar Piastri up the inside of Yuki Tsunoda, but Oscar Piastri set that up nicely. Oh, Oscar Piastri and Yuki messy here. Is Oscar? Are we seeing the fragilities of Oscar Piastri? Oscar's looked a bit messy this weekend, I'll be honest with you. Uncharacteristically messy. I mean, nobody bats 1,000, right? But look at him. Scraping. A, he should never be in this position had he qualified properly. And B, he's just a bit messy, isn't he? Not as clinical. This is the difference between a Sir Lewis under Max and the rest. Different. Yuki Tsunoda goes defensive into turn 1. Oscar Piastri tries to send it, but the switchback is on. Oh no. Oscar takes himself a smidge too much curb. Oh, careful, Oscar. Careful. Nearly touches again. 454 of you watching concurrently. We have ourselves a sprint race. Oscar Piastri and Yuki Tsunoda. Oh, Yuki Tsunoda trying to pitch. Brundle makes the case for Yuki Tsunoda. Consider me. Got to drive so well, Yuki Tsunoda, to make their decision to keep you or promote you very easy. Give back the position is what Yuki Tsunoda's been telling. Why? Give back the position for what? It's hard racing. It's Haas in 5, it's killing me. Yuki's being pushed around like furniture. No, he hasn't got the car though. These both Checo Perez. He shouldn't be racing with Checo and Oscar. Oof. You see that? Oscar tried to get a bit of cheeky. Yeah, Yuki's not having it. Yuki's lost his mind, hasn't he? He's like, nah, I've been overtaken by Checo and I'm not being overtaken by anybody else. He's in full destruction derby settings. Oh, careful. This is a crash coming, isn't it? Careful, Yuki. Got to bring the car home, chap. Yuki Tsunoda being told to give back. Oh, no, Yuki's not giving that back. He's been told that he's telling his engineer that they forced him off. Oh. Oh. He's not giving it back. Carlos close. Max could use Yuki's defensive skills as a tip. True, Michael. Very true. Although Checo Perez is good defensively, but he's just lost his mojo, or he was once upon a time. We have ourselves 5 laps remaining as Martin Brundle calls Yuki Tsunoda even a firework. This is their principal point of contention. This is what's holding them back, right, as far as promoting Yuki Tsunoda. That he's fast, that he can drive, that his racecraft is incredible, but he's a hothead. And he doesn't have himself Max Verstappen privilege, does he? Champion privilege. So Yuki Tsunoda shouldn't be losing it. Not the way that he does at the moment, because he's not there yet. Trying to put himself in the shop window, isn't he? What the heck? Oof. Liam, Yuki, Colapinto. I know it's fun, Macon, isn't it? Mercedes is falling off. Falling off? I don't know. I think they've just made their car very fast for quali. They're taking a gamble. And there is a price to pay as far as in the race, right? Tyre deck is what they're suffering from. Yeah, that's what the FI are trying to enforce. Team order rules, aren't they? Trying to get the teams to sort it out themselves. Maybe we see a black and white flag. I like that Yuki Tsunoda's got some teeth here. Oscar Piastri's going to want to have words with him. If Yuki can... But listen, that's another notch on Yuki Tsunoda's bedpost, eh? If Yuki Tsunoda can keep Oscar Piastri behind him for the remaining 4 laps, then... Oops, Tsunoda, Piastri incident, turn 12. Okay, so they're investigating it. They are investigating it. Hot rear tyres, says Ted Kravitz. Overheated. Well, mate, that's what you get from running not enough downforce. Up the inside, Oscar Piastri. Go on, Oscar. Oof. Or go on Yuki even. I would have liked for Yuki to... Yuki's making a name for himself, eh? Ted Kravitz pointing out that Leclerc is closing on Carlos Sainz. Come on, Carlos. Hold that off, mate. Max Verstappen has the whip hand. However, no further action scorecard. Racing. Hard racing. What do you want? Snowflake F1? No thanks. Nobody wants that. No one. Especially not me. We are. No further action. Let's go. This race is literally flash in the pan. Sprint races. I know, Macon. But by definition, it's a taster. Hors d'oeuvre settings. A precursor to qualifying in the race a little bit later. Qualifying, chaps. Qualifying. Ladies and gents, he's going to be techie later on, I'm telling you. Is the championship battle over, hybrid? Not yet. Not yet. I just don't think Lando's not there yet. Only Lewis can bring it to Max Verstappen. I'm telling you, over the course of 24 races, only Lewis. He's operating on that level that's a bit different. Oh, and breathe. Scott can have action. Lap 17 of 19. Your runners and riders. Verstappen leads Norris by 2.6 seconds to Sainz. Charles Leclerc closing in. Oh no. Lewis been told just look after the car when you're racing. Papaya rules. Go on, Lewis. Let's have a cheeky nibble. But he's looked after his... This is where Lewis is a tyre whisperer, right? You would have seen this coming. And he would have been driving accordingly, looking after his tyres. Lewis Hamilton encroaching, now 1.017 seconds away from his teammate. George Russell, first of his name, of Kingsley, Norfolk. Only one DNF and championship is on again. Oh no, this is true. That's still... Oh, George. Goes without saying, George. Keep it clean. Papaya rules. Keep it clean. EC, I don't know about these sprints anymore. I know, the jury's out. This one's been good though, EC. How did this one look in on site, EC? I've appreciated this one. This sprint has been so damn good. Skullcow, on televisions, on the televisuals, it's been decent. It's been inspired, I'll say. Maybe that's a bridge too far. Really, I love me a sprint. I don't like the sprint weekend hybrid. I can't lie. I like the old. I'm old school. I'm averse to change. Leave me alone. Do you know what? Get my pipe and my slippers and my hot cup of cocoa. Do you know what I mean? 0.5 seconds is the difference between the Mercedes pairing. The boys and girls at Brackley and Brixworth are trying to make sure they bring both cars home. We have 2 laps remaining, and that's the story. That's the first priority order story. Eh? Oh, Max Verstappen. Dare I? I mean, and there are those that say Max Verstappen is a benefactor of a cheating team and a cheating car. Well, how do you like them Max Verstappen apples, eh? Although look at Max catching him rapidly. Look at it. What's happened? Has Max got an issue? Have I given Max the commentator curse? Oh, Lando Norris is catching Max at a rate of knots. What's going on? Unless no, Sky Sports are misconstruing. Of course, Max has this under control. They've put a metric up. Are you seeing the metric on your screen? The battle for second place, 0.462 is the gap. What are you on about? Oh no, it's the gap between Lando and Sainz. That's it is the battle for second. Go on, Carlos. Oh, get go, Carlos. Lando Norris bottled it. Outbraked himself. Lando Norris gives away more valuable points. What are we doing, chat? What are we doing? Absolute chaos, nonsense. And he's driven brilliantly up until then. But again, you got to manage your tyres, eh? Vámonos, Carlos Sainz. Carlito. Vámonos. Apúrate a hacer. Choked, says Mark. Oh, Leclerc. Lando locked up so hard. Just bring it home on the last lap, Lando. Do you know what I mean? This is what Helmut was talking about now. That in the heat of battle, this dude has himself a cheeky error of the unforced variety in his locker. Simply lovely. But Daniel. Sexy sights. Smooth operator. Oof. Lando desperately. Oh, Lando. Now you're at... Mate, Lando, chill out, chap. Chew your automotive pugilistic food, sir, before you swallow. Now, oh my gosh! Charles Leclerc had to get out the way, eh? Jeez. Lando Norris being a bit tricky, maybe. Maybe that was a cheeky brake test. Maybe Lando has learned something. Max down the road, 3.7 seconds. Oh my gosh, Ricardo. 6 in a row. Max doesn't lose around here very often, do you know what I mean? Not to anybody not called Lewis Hamilton, at least. Lando Norris could not lose another place, could he? Fuming. Oh, that is your sprint race quota in the bag. Purple sector, purple lap, last lap from Max Verstappen. Wow. Lando looked a bit late. I think he's rattled. I think he's... there we go, mate. Martin Brundle said it better than I ever could. Normal service, ladies and gents, is resumed. Max Verstappen gets it done yet again. Don't ever back against Max Verstappen ever in your life unless you are in the business of losing money. Not as at October the 19th, 2024. Do you know what I mean? What? No. Verstappen over the radio. Simply lovely. Listen to him. Listen to how calm he is in the car. Nice job, yeah. Yeah, that was much better. That's in his bag this weekend. COTA is the track where drivers not named Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton go to lose. Let's have a look at this Lando Norris incident. What was Lando doing here? He's been a bit tricky, wasn't he? Oh, bloody Nora Lando. Outbraked himself. Can't afford to make these mistakes. Lando Norris said it best. Normally, over the course of a race weekend, it's the driver Of the top few cars, it's the driver that makes the least unforced errors. Oh, Charles Leclerc did him a massive favour there. Lando did go very tight, but that's what you're supposed to do, I suppose. Fair play to Charles Leclerc. Fair play to Charles Leclerc for getting out of the way. No, he wasn't moving over. He wasn't moving and braking. Brake. Oh. Oh. Wow. How do you like them apples? Championship losing moment for Lando. Not quite. He's still got qualifying. He's still got the proper race. That's how many points? 5, 8. I mean, he's only lost himself an additional point as Lando. From first, it goes 8th. Second gets 7th. Third gets 6th. But the problem is for Lando, the unforced errors keep stacking up, right? Consistency over the course of a championship will be the winning and losing of it. The mountain, as far as to get the requisites, the bits and bobs, the minerals, the stuff that you have to do to win yourself a driver championship, consistency over time. And every single instance, it looks like Lando Norris is dropping additional points, right? And that, ladies and gents, is a problem. That, for me, is the losing of a championship. That's how you lose yourself a championship. Point here, a point there, couple points at Silverstone, couple points at Oscar Piastri's first victory. Hungary. That, do you know what I mean? It's a point here. It was 10 points many moons ago. Now it would be 20, 25 points that he's given away over the course of the last 5 or 6 races. Meanwhile, Max Verstappen has made a couple errors. Austria was one. Miami was the other. Monaco was the other. That's 3 mistakes over the course of 18 races. None of them material enough to have him a DNF. 3 mistakes. Max Verstappen is the champion of 2024. He's moving and behaving and driving like one. Lewis Hamilton's settings in his pomp. It's the same thing. Really, really hard. Go away, Mohammed Ben Sulayem. Come on, Mohammed Ben Sulayem trying to inject himself into the fray. Trying to shake Max Verstappen's hands like he somehow set up the car or something. Go away, MBS. I hate it when this dude puts himself front and center. Is Max Verstappen's moment, chap? You sit in the background like Jean Todt used to do, mate. Manage yourself. Go and steward. You know what I mean? Make some race director decisions. Improve the sport as far as the transparency of it. Diversity and inclusion. Institution of the rules across the board. Go and do that, chap. Kelly PK looking on. Proud of her 3 soon to be 4-time champion boyfriend, Max Verstappen. Do you know what I mean? Lou said there. Why is it? He has got to be there, but I don't like the way he's ever present next to the winner. Talking about, I like winners. What do you mean you like winners? You're a regulatory person, chap. You're meant to treat each one of these drivers the same, whether they're winners or losers. Consistent across the piece, you joker. You know what I mean? Lando will never win a WDC. Doesn't have the mental fortitude, mate. And Ash. Makes too many mistakes, doesn't he? Too negative. Look at Max. Just looks... Walk in the park. Go on then, you got to go and tinker with the car, eh? Oh, Brundle says Verstappen versus Roy. Lando Norris looks devastated. Look at this. Damage limitation. Gunther Steiner, what are you talking about? True. Gunther Steiner makes the point. You started 4th even and finished 3rd. Lando says he's pretty happy. Lando just looks like that young boy from Stranger Things. Every time I see his face, it just reminds me of that chap. I don't remember his name. Nobody wins the WDC besides Max anyway. Mubashir. Carlos had some serious fire today. Possible race winner or PT potentially. If he can qualify it, if he can put it where it needs to be on qualify. I'm just happy that Carlos beats Charles. Every time Carlos beats Charles, like, do you know what I mean? I secretly pop a bottle of champagne. If Carlos could beat Charles over the course of the season, mate, that's why you will never be a champion. Lando says that was good, eh? Says Eddie. I think they had a driver's briefing saying we need people to go like sprint. Yeah, maybe you guy goes but balls to the wall. I don't hate it, Eddie. It's a good sprint race. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Look, I'm gonna go away. I'm gonna run away. We'll be back in a minute, eh? Not long. 11 o'clock. T-3 hours, and then we get ourselves a proper qualifying. Can you imagine after this? This is why the sprint format is good. Because this was just a taster before the a la carte menu later on, when we get ourselves a proper 60-minute qualifying session that promises to be epic. I cannot wait. It's going to be techie. I'm going to run away and go and do some research and some due diligence ahead of that session, because it's going to be chaotic. Need to be on my A game, do you know what I mean? Get myself some brave pills, go hard again in T-3 hours time. We'll be back 3 hours, 30 minutes up. Lando Norris said, don't even talk to Max Verstappen. Look at Lando cracking jokes with Max. That doesn't look like championship material to me. I know 2024 athletes are very different from back in my day. Social media generation. There's some say that they're soft. Some say that they're just different. All I know is they're not like us. Do you know what I mean? If I just got beat by Max Verstappen, I'm not getting on his private jet to go home. I don't want to speak to him or see him. Peter Windsor tells me the story about, I think it's Carlos Reutemann, who didn't want to stay in the same hotel of any other of the drivers. Why? Because he wanted to kill them. Swore, or Jimmy Connors even, when he was playing tennis, I just wanted to beat his rival. I don't want to see them and have coffee with them or breakfast, or I don't want to see them before I get on the track. I hate them. Lando Norris doesn't believe in that. Now listen, everybody's not the same, right? Max, it looked like you're in control. Max looks like he's just woken up out of bed, mate. Not too bad. Feels a bit like old. Oh no, Genie, you're a legend. Move a shit. Right, I'm going away. Sort out your life, Lando Norris. I don't want to see you there kicking next to Max Verstappen, the man who's leading you in the championship. Was by 52 points. Now by more, eh? Now by more. 55 points. $54 points. I mean, what's the point? 54 points, 8 races to go, including this one. Gonna have to catch that dude at a lick of 9 points a race. If I were forecasting to put on my finance cap, he's not. The run rate's not. It's not run rating, is it? It's gonna need a DNF. He's gonna need something to happen to Max. Gonna need for something to happen to Max. Sting getting a cheeky handshake of Max Verstappen. Stardom gets you places, doesn't it? To be an A-lister. Liberty Media doesn't stop courting them yet, does he? It looks like Sting wanted Lando Norris to win, doesn't it? Oh, well. Didn't get his wish. But Lando did all right. I mean, Lando's issue, the mistake from Lando. What's Lando? I don't respect Lando's hat. That cap that Lando's wearing makes him look even more like the chap from Stranger Things, eh? Isn't that the Stranger Things cap? Oh dear, I'm going to start to call. I'm going to find that between now and next time. I'm going to find out the name of the character on Stranger Things that Lando Norris looks exactly like. And he's wearing the hats that he used to wear. Chaos. 2024 is cooked, says Eddie. I don't know, man. Superb from Max and Carlos. Agreed. James. Oh, right. I'm running away. I'll be back 30 minutes before lights out for qualifying. It's going to get techie. T-3 hours, I think. Oh, the humanity. Not a bad sprint race. I didn't hate it. Max Verstappen takes it again, though. For the avoidance of doubt, if indeed losing money is not your thing, not your flavour of the day, then once again, Max Verstappen has proved that there is one thesis that stands the test of the time, as at the 19th of the 10th, 2024. That, of course, is that one should never, ever back against 3 soon-to-be 4-time champion, Max Verstappen. I will see you 30 minutes before qualifying. Between now and next time, prosecution rests. No further questions, Your Honour.